Hey besties, welcome back to the Cozy Corner. It's your girl Jen, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm just a college student at Cal State Dominguez, and I love talking about books and everything else with you guys. But if you're not new here, welcome back to the chaos. So if you haven't seen my putting my bookshelves together and move-in type of video, by the time this video goes up, go ahead and watch that. It's not like a primarily like you have to watch this first, but it is good to know because I have moved. I have my own space, I have my own place, and I have my own bookshelves. I am currently sitting in front of my bookshelf on the right. If you were to be looking from where you guys are looking right now, this is the bookshelf on the right. This is all of like my chronologically in not chronologically, sorry, alphabetically by author's last name. This is like the M through Z essentially. I don't have any books that start with a Z, but I do have Rebecca Yarros. That is the what do you call it? That is the last books that I have within the alphabet, if that makes sense. We have the Y's over here. Why? I don't know. It's just how it is. A lot of people decide to like organize their books by color, by genre. I do plan to do that eventually when I have a little bit more books, if that makes sense. I'm also hoping to look on Etsy or Amazon, but I honestly like to prefer I honestly prefer to like support small businesses. Excuse me. Sorry guys, I just got back from a run, so like your girl's oxygen is just non-existent at the moment. But essentially, I do plan to get these little like wooden cutouts. I'll have a picture of it up here somewhere, but it'll be like fantasy, sci-fi, mystery thriller, dystopian, etc. Romance, 100% romance is going to be a huge what do you call it thing. But what I plan to do is I'm going to be doing it by alphabetically by genre. So fantasy will be probably over there, and then it'll be still like it'll still be alphabetically by author's last name. Being besides the point, in this video, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm going to be going over my April and May TBR wrap up. I did not do a video of, I did not do an April TBR last month just because I was moving this entire thing. You guys already know, but I decided to go ahead and put these 2 months together. It is indeed May 31st by the time I'm recording this video. So we have a lot to talk about. A lot of these books that I read were on Kindle or Audible. So all of these books I'll just be having like linked up here. I in total want to say that I have read 30 books, you guys. That is crazy. Between May and April, that's wild. That's an average of 15 books a month. But in April I read 17 books, and in May, because I was moving and so we were busy, I only read 13, but that's still like really, really good. Like even if you only read 1 book this month or 1 book last month or 10 books or 30 books last month, although that's really impressive if you did. Reading is subjective, and if you're having fun, that's all that really matters. Being besides the point, most of these books, except for the last ones that I read, the last like 4 or 5 in the month of April, I don't have, so I'll just be having them linked up here. The first like 2 books that I read in April were really chapters in the Live and Let Lionel book. It's part of the Zodiac series. I was finishing my Zodiac journey, Zodiac Academy journey in April, and I just, the first 12 books in April were all like Zodiac Academy related. Seth and the Moon, it's basically Seth goes to the moon, he fucks the moon, comes home, and does not shut up about it. Night is Live and Let Lionel as well. I want to say this is this is like a short story of the twins' birthday at their uncle's house, and Rory Knight, not Rory, is his brother. I'll have it up here somewhere. His younger brother, I forget his name, but they're relevant in the Ruthless Boys series. Seth? No, but very Seth coded. Regardless, it's just like a birthday party short story. Diving into the official Zodiac Academy series, we have Fated Throne. I won't lie, I don't remember what most of these books were about. I just know that they were like the latter half of the Zodiac Academy universe. We are like going up against the big bad. Some people are like going through some stuff. I won't lie. Specifically, I don't remember where like the books end. I'm gonna just go back. Cursed Fates, best. Oh, okay. So this is probably when one of our beloved characters ends up getting like emotionally coerced, manipulated into like a guardian bond with one specific character, and so they have to protect them even though they clearly care about and love somebody else. It's a whole thing. Heartless, Sky, Sorrow, and Starlight, Beyond the Veil, Live and Let Lionel, and Restless stars. I won't lie, I don't remember specifically chronologically what happened in these books, but I do know that we are like leading up to the big bad. These are hundreds and thousands of pages of just like going through some stuff. People are dying, people are coming back to life. Honestly, I prefer you watch Lit by Lauren's video on the Zodiac Academy, just because I read this so long ago and she did a dedicated reading vlog. So I'll have her linked up here. You can go ahead and find her on YouTube and go ahead and watch her video. There's also Larry Reed's. I'll have her linked up here as well. They are very like obsessed with the series, much more than I am. I'm a Throne of Glass girly through and through. I did appreciate Zodiac Academy's universe, but as far as Throne of Glass, that just has a special place in my heart. And I feel like these two girly pops, and maybe even Mariana Reed's would be better at like describing them to you. I'm just gonna say. But yeah, I read that is like the first 8 books of April. I won't lie, that is like a horrible way to describe them. But essentially, we're just like leading up to the big bad, and like finally, like I guess gaining some sense of like security as far as like winning the battle and like creating an actual government and blah blah blah. What I actually cared about though was the Darkmore Penitentiary. So if you read the Ruthless Boys trilogy, no, not trilogy. Is it a trilogy? No, it is not. It's kind of relevant in the fact that Dante is like one of the characters in this story, and his younger cousin, I want to say, is like 14 at the time. 10 years later, she's 24, and she is in love with this specific character, Rory Knight, who ended up going to jail after a stint that went wrong. If you don't know, the Knight family is very like obsessed with like stealing things, and like they are just known, they are notorious thieves, etc., etc. But essentially, Rory Knight ends up protecting our girl, and I forget her name. I'm not gonna lie, I'll have it up here somewhere. But he is like trying to protect her after this stint. He ended up going to prison and taking the fall for her in order to save her from getting caught, blah, blah, blah. So 10 years later, oh, by the way, huge age gap. This girl is 14 at the time, and I think he's like 20, 24 or something like that. So like a solid 10 years older than her. 10 years later, she's like 24. He's like roughly 34. She ends up breaking into prison to break this fucker out under the pretense of trying to break somebody else out. But she's just like, fuck it. Take him along for the ride. He's coming with us regardless. There is, similar to the Ruthless Boys series, if you have read it, this is a polyamorous full, like everybody loves her and she loves everybody between 4 different characters, and you fall in love with, I want to say, most of them. My personal favorite is Sin Wilder, just because he's absolutely unhinged. I don't know what it is about these specific characters, but people like Jinx from Arcane Legends, Harley Quinn, Sin is now like a male version of that. They are all like mentally unhinged, mentally unwell. It just freaking crazy, and will choose the most audacious thing. Specifically, this is my favorite part. It's my favorite because I'm not the one that's involved. It's like the character story involved. It's like I like to appreciate the drama from afar, but if I am involved in the drama, I will not like it. But this is just one of those situations. So essentially, they're trying to pull off this, like, I guess, what would you call it? Like diversion in order to do some stuff, in order to like find out how to get out of there, out of this prison. And the girl specifically Rosalie is her name. Rosalie is the female main character's name. Rosalie specifically tells Sin, do not press this button, essentially. And he's like, okay, I won't do it. But in his brain, on his point of view, he's like, no, she's telling me. We have a secret code. We have a secret language. She's telling me with those eyes of hers. She's got this look in her eyes, and she's telling me to press that button. She's just saving face for everybody else. So he ends up pressing the button, and afterwards, she's like, I literally told you not to press that button. And I'm like, I know, you told me not to do it, but like, in my brain, I know you told me to do it, so like, don't worry, baby girl, I got you. And eventually, this becomes like a specific like role of contention between the two characters. It's so funny. It's so hilarious. I really loved this series. Honestly, hot topic, hot opinion, hot like thought. I preferred the Ruthless Boys series and the Darkmore Penitentiary series, character-wise, and kind of story-wise, compared to Zodiac Academy. Don't come for me. Zodiac Academy, while I did enjoy it for the most part, it had its ups and downs. It's shorter. I'm so sorry, you guys. I did appreciate it, but like if I had to reread this in the future and I wanted something to short, like a shorter book series, like these are both 4 books each, I would read the Darkmore Penitentiary series and Restless Boys series all over again. Don't come for me. Regardless, moving the fuck on, we are going into our 4th Wing reread. Let me pull all these books out because I do want to show off my holiday edition of 4th Wing. Have the regular edition, have Iron Flame, and have Onyx Storm. I reread this series. I was already planning to reread it, but I reread it earlier just because I knew that Rebecca Yarros was coming out with book 4, even though it's like not book 4, but it's an unentitled Empyrean series. It's probably going to be a novella on Zayden's point of view. Just gonna say that. But I reread Fourth Wing. We have the original holiday cover. Or, I'm sorry, we have the holiday cover and we have the original cover right here. If you guys don't know, if you haven't read this already, why? What the heck are you doing? But I'm gonna give a very spoiler plot synopsis. So if you have not read this book and have not read this series, maybe go read somebody else's not spoiler free plot synopsis of this series. But essentially we have Violet Sorrengail. She's very like not chronically, but like she has a disorder where her bones are brittle. So brittle bone disorder is basically what she's got going on. This is very like there's a specific word for this, but chronic disability representation. There we go. That's the word that I was looking for. Essentially, she was planning her entire life to go into the squad quadrant. There we go. Sorry, scribe quadrant. There we go. I don't know why it was so hard to say. I don't know why it's so hard to talk today. Oh my goodness. She's been preparing her whole life to go into the scribe quadrant. She was planning to take the test. She was planning to pass it. I believe she already passed the test, to be honest. But she ends up like visiting her mom, who's like the general of this war academy college. Basically, like I guess West Point, if you're into the military type of situation. You've probably heard of it a couple of times before, but essentially this is like West Point but with dragons and magic type of situation. We have this crazy little guy right here who is just obsessed with trying to escape. I'm having him like in his little playpen right now just because he was causing some chaos earlier and I feel like he needed a second to just relax and chill. Moving the fuck on. West Point with dragons, right? Dragons and magic. And essentially the general is also her mother. So like the principal is also the general who is also her mother. And the general is like, you're not going to be going to the scribe quadrant. You're going to be going into the writer's quadrant. And she's like, do you want me to die? You literally just lost your son to situations related to the freaking writer's quadrant. And you want me, crippled ass, brittle bone, diseased ass me to enter into the scribe quadrant. I'm sorry, the writer's quadrant. No, thank you. So she ends up doing it because, like, her mom basically just gave her no alternative. She ends up meeting Zayden Ryerson, who is, like, her mortal enemy. Her mom killed his dad, and then his dad killed her brother or something like that, whatever. It's like enemies to lovers, but not really. She ends up bonding Taryn and Andarna. Taryn is mated to his dragon, Segail, and so now they are, like, just not fated mates, but like they are intertwined, they are interconnected, their feelings are like able to blah 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 blah. If you've read Akatar, if you've read Dornaglass, if you read any other sort of fated mates type of situations, very similar. Just copy paste, change the story essentially. Next into by the way, I want to like go into this more. So with Fourth Wing, we are going through all these trials and tribulations. At the very, very end, something very bad happens. They end up getting like sabotaged by Dane Atos's dad. Dane is like ex-best friend, and then his dad is just like a complete like tool, asshole for sure, 100%. Does not like Zayden, does not like Violet for liking Zayden, and he ends up like sabotaging them into like going to this remote village in order to save some people. Turns out this like opposing side called the Venom, who are kind of like, they ended up pulling magic from this unauthorized source called the ground, and essentially they ended up going crazy because of it. I'm just going to give you like a very basic plot synopsis of that part. But essentially they end up getting sent there. They end up having to fight for their life. A specific character by the name of Liam. We all love Liam here, but he dies because he was saving Violet, and oh my god, it's been my honor. Oh, fuck me, dude. Yeah, fuck me with the stick, dude. It sucks. It really sucks. But yeah, moving the fuck on. I, to this day, mind you, I still remember rereading Iron Flame. I can tell you the events of that happened in Onyx Storm. I forget what the fuck happens in Iron Flame, but essentially this is year 2. Violet Sorrengail and Zayden Ryerson are having a hard time because their dragons can't be without each other for more than a few days, and then also Dane Atos's dad is trying to keep them separated, and a whole situation happens, and blah 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 blah. I won't lie. Oh, and the Venom are like involved, and also the Griffin writers are starting to get more involved. Yeah, it's a lot, but I won't lie. For some reason between Fourth Wing and Onyx Storm, I don't really remember what happens on Iron Flame, but I can tell you I gave these a 4. It's like a 4.5 star series. Onyx Storm, I want to say bumped up to a 4.75. compared to my to my first read of this book. I won't lie, I don't remember what my first rating of this book was, but second read through with probably a 4.75. I want to say Fourth Wing 4.5, Iron Flame 4.25, and then Onyx Storm 4.75. And then, like, technically, the entire Zodiac Academy series is a 5 stars, but it's not part of my God tier series. Probably what I would like more is, again, as I mentioned, the Ruthless Boys and Darkmore Penitentiary series, which I still gave 5 stars. The entire series is 5 stars, but I would prefer to reread that if I were to do a reread. Moving the fuck on, we also have Good Girl Complex by L. Kennedy. I won't lie, it took me a second to think about what this book was about again, because I high-key forgot. I won't lie. I just totally forgot what the series, or the book rather, was about. But from what I remember, kind of, is we're essentially, we start off in a bar. We're following the male's point of view, and he essentially gets in trouble because he beat up some, like, rich guy's kid. And then he did, like, the whole, like, my dad will be hearing about this, and, like, your whole bar is going to go under unless this guy gets fired. And so he gets fired. It passes by a couple of years later, or a couple months later. Some sort of time passes by, and we're following the girl's point of view. She's part of this, like, super elite family. Her boyfriend is the son who got, like, beat up in the inside of the bar. And then I guess their relationship isn't going well, and so she's going off to college while he just graduated and he's starting off his business, and then he expects her to be some trad wife and blah blah blah, while she has dreams to, like, start her own business of some sort. And then she ends up going to college and meets this guy, and they're supposed to be friends, but they don't do friend things. If you're not really a huge fan of miscommunication and cheating adjacent trope, maybe this isn't the book for you. It was fine. I give it 3 stars, and let's, like, move the fuck on. It really wasn't that, like, jaw-dropping and, like, life-changing, in my personal opinion, chemistry-altering for sure. We are going to go into, we can go into Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. This book, my god. Okay. It took me a solid hour and a half of listening to the audiobook to figure out what the fuck this book is about. Comma. Okay, period. This book follows people who were involved in a bank robbery, like victims of people who were involved in the bank robbery. Like, these are people who were at the bank at that time. And then they're at the police station and they're getting interviewed by the police to get the full story. But if you've read Frederick Bachman before, I don't know why I said it like that. If you've read Frederick Bachman before, you know that, like, it's a character-driven story. So it'll be like, Sally went to the store to meet up with Jeff. Jeff and Sally went to the store to buy groceries. Jeff went home with some of the groceries, and then him and his mom cooked dinner that night. His mom then went to work the next morning, hung out with her coworker, and then the coworker told her some juicy details. And so after that, the coworker and Sally went to the cafe. After that, the coworker goes home, starts like, it's very, like, A plus B equals C plus D equals F plus G equals blah, 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 blah. Like, if that makes sense, but it's also character-driven. It's a very character-driven story, but also the plot is pretty good as well. This little guy is trying to attack me, and it's funny as fuck. You eventually find out it's alluded to who the bank robber is at the very end. And then I looked this up because I wanted to spoil it for myself, but I guess this is also a either movie or a series adaptation on Netflix, and they give you a specific character to follow who ends up being the bank robber at the very, very end. I gave this a 4. I want to say 4.75. I really enjoyed this. I did enjoy the audiobook more than reading this. I won't lie, I was reading this at work and I was getting kind of confused. But then, like, the audiobook definitely helped out. Frederick Bachman is just always, like, I will read his freaking grocery list if that was, like, a thing. But, like, moving on, right? I delved back into this is, like, if you kind of know me, and you've read, or if you listened to my previous videos, I did mention that this year was going to be a reread year. So yeah, I reread the Fourth Wing series, as I mentioned before, but I also reread The Haunting and Hunting Adeline, the Cat and Mouse duet, and yeah, still 5 stars. Still crazy as fuck. Still, like, very, like, if you're not mentally stable, if you're not emotionally okay, I would not recommend reading this book. This is especially, like, book 2. Book 2 is very, very graphic. This is a spoiler plot synopsis, okay? So if you have not read this book and you plan to read it soon, and you don't want to be spoilered, go listen to somebody's spoiler-free plot synopsis of this series, of this duet. But essentially, we have this really, like, casual, antisocial, anxious, like, I guess social anxiety riddled author who is very popular as well, and she's doing this book signing event at some random town. She's doing this book signing, and then out in comes Mind You, is dual point of view as well, and the audiobook that I listened to is also dual POV, and I won't lie, that sold it for me. This is why it's a full 5 stars for both books. But essentially, this random guy comes in and she feels somebody's gaze on her. So she like looks around. She eventually sees this guy and she's like, oh, like I guess he's attractive, but also like, why the fuck is he staring at me? Like, and so you get this guy's point of view. He's coming back from, I want to say he's coming back from doing his stint with his like, not sex trafficking organization, but like his organization takes down sex traffickers. So anti-sex trafficking organization, if you will. He comes back from doing his stint and he ends up passing by this bookstore and he sees her and he's like, oh, I don't know what, something about her. Maybe it's her tits, maybe it's her ass, maybe she's like just perfect as fuck, visually appealing. I'm gonna go look at her and just like, do some random shit. So he ends up going to stalk her. Eventually, he ends up, I guess, following her around. He's an actual stalker. She recently inherited her grandmother's estate, who's also like a haunted mansion, and then he ends up like using that as like his spooky playground. He ends up stalking her, as I mentioned. He ends up like viscerally mutilating and or killing the people that she sleeps with before him, and their first interaction together is he boinks her with a gun. Is it loaded? You eventually find that out later, but like at the time you're like, fuck, like this girl could actually get, like the person that you the girl Addie is like, this guy could kill me, this guy could actually like shit my pussy, and that's like not okay. Dude, why are you playing with the freaking litter box? Now I have to go clean that. This guy's crazy. But yeah, it goes on. They eventually like get together, I guess. She is still like she doesn't want to accept that she likes him, but she's also turned on by fear, and he uses that as foreplay, and it's a trip. It's a very big trip. If you've read Haunting and Hunting Adeline, the Cat and Mouse Duet, you will know that it's a fucking trip and you just have to go along with it. You have to buckle up and hold on for dear life because it will take you there. It will take you up, down, all around, loop-de-loop, etc., and you will just have to fucking hold on and attempt to enjoy something. Next, I reread the Six of Crows duology. Are you starting to realize that this was basically a reread month? Well, that is what it was. This is not in order at all. Let me fix this. We have Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. This is part of, if you have read the not Six of Crows, so that's what I read today. Not today, but this month. If you've read Shadow and Bone trilogy, essentially this is like a spin-off book following a completely different set of characters within the same world. We have a gang of ne'er-do-wells, essentially. Mind you, these are very young people too. These are like, I want to say between, youngest was like 12, average was like 14 to 18. Like, these are children. These are basically children. But they're all part of this gang called the Crows. Well, I think they're called something else, but like their mascot, I guess, is the Crows. They're called the Dregs. There we go. And Kaz Brecker ends up getting like jumped one night, ends up getting kidnapped, and he is approached by this man who ends up showing him that the effects of this like very scary, mind you, this is like a spoiler plot synopsis. So again, all of these are spoiler plot synopsis. If you have not read these books, go read somebody else, or I'll watch somebody else who has a spoiler-free plot synopsis for you, just because this is a reread for me, so I don't feel like spoiler-freeing it for you guys, if that makes sense. But essentially, there is this drug going around that is called Jurda Parem. Mind you, Parem is basically like an energy drink in drug form. It's a stimulant meant to help you keep awake, but Jurda Parem is specifically for people who have powers, which are the, oh my god, they're called witches, but like small scientists. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. I will have the word up here for what they are technically classified as, but they were basically able to use powers related to science. So essentially what this drug does is it enhances it to a like scary, magical almost level. And what ends up happening is like the first or second dose, they end up getting severely addicted to it, but they also end up going crazy because of it. So Kaz Brecker is basically told that like he will be given $30 million in exchange for finding these scientists in this crazy like prison that is impossible to get into. He's supposed to break him out and then basically like traffic him to safety, I guess, in order to like stop him from spreading this drug around. So that ends up happening. That is what ends up happening. There we go. Kaz Brecker ends up like recruiting his specific members of his drugs gang, and they end up going on the ultimate heist for $30 million. Each person on this in this heist will be given $4 million, which is fucking crazy to think about. There is a lot of morally black or morally gray characters. Kaz specifically is very morally black. He is only out here for himself, or is that's what you're supposed to think. All of these characters have specific relationships with each other, especially Crooked Kingdom. My personal favorite couple in this, next to Kaz and Inej, is Jess and Wyland. I don't know. Just something about them too. It's just chef's kisses. But yeah, 5-star series. I don't even have to fucking mention why. It's just awesome. And if you haven't actually read it yet, you should definitely go read this book. It's freaking awesome. It will have you emotionally traumatized, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Things happen. Last but not least, for my physical books, I have the Ex Hex. It was fine. I think I gave this a 2.5, 2.7. No, I want to say like a 3.37. A 3-star flat. Flat 3-star. It was fine. It was literally fine. Essentially, 2 girls get drunk one night. One of them is brokenhearted and accidentally curses or hexes. Here we go. Her ex, which is why it's called the Ex Hex. 9 years later, he ends up facing bad luck when he comes to this town to do some random ritual to, like, I guess, reset the ley lines for power or whatever the fuck for the next couple of decades. And essentially by the time he gets back into the vicinity of this town, the magic is going crazy. He ends up finding out that he's been cursed, and so him and his ex end up working together to figure this shit out. And essentially it's like a second chance romance. Like, it was fine. It was literally fine. Nothing special about it. It was whatever. It was fine. This is part of a trilogy, which I didn't know. Is it interconnected standalones? I have no idea, but I don't plan to read the next couple of books in the series. I'm not gonna lie. Next is, we're not done yet. We're not done yet, guys. We have 7 books left. Yeah, my voice is going. It is gone. It is going to be gone by the end of this video. Next, we have Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. This is the same author who did the Cat and Mouse duet. Yeah. They're essentially following a girl, and in the very beginning of the book, she is appearing to be hunted down by some random person. So she ends up like catching the next plane to some random island. She ends up going to Australia. A couple years later, she ends up passing by a bar one night, has a great conversation with this guy, ends up fucking him by accident. Well, she planned to fuck him, but like she didn't plan to stay. Steals his identity and runs away. Yeah. Flash forward to, I want to say a couple weeks later, he ends up tracking her down by accident or on purpose, I forget. And he confronts her about stealing his identity, and he's like, hey, what the fuck? And she's like, oops, didn't expect to get caught there. But essentially, he ends up taking her for revenge. He ends up taking her on his boat because he's like a marine biologist of some sort, and he's very obsessed with sharks. If you see what this is going here, and you've heard the very random trope of this book, you will know where this is going. He ends up taking her on a boat and ends up taking her to see sharks. He then fucks her in shark-infested waters. Like, the chum bucket is in there, the sharks are frenzied, he fucks her in shark-infested waters. Later, a storm happens, and they end up getting stranded on this island with this crazy guy. Some other really important stuff happens that I'm not going to get into because I want to make this as spoiler-free as possible because this is my first read through. But essentially, at the very end, happily ever after, some random shit happens, and that's the end of the story. That's all I'm going to say, yeah. Moving on is a trilogy that I don't know how to feel about. We have the Kindred's Curse saga. This is the Spark of the Spark of the Everflame, Glow of the Everflame, Heat of the Everflame. And in September, when this comes out, I will read Glow? No. What is it even called? Burn of the Everflame. There we go. It all has to do with like burning and fire and random shit. But as far as the titles go, we are following DM, who doesn't have any powers, very Red Queen coded. But at the beginning, she doesn't have any powers, and then she does all of a sudden, and then she's scared because blah, blah, blah. She ends up becoming the queen, and then all of a sudden, blah, 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 blah. Like, a bunch of random shit happens, but also throughout the whole book, nothing happens except for, like, push and pull, very slow burn until, like, the third book, and the very end of the third book when they finally realize their feelings for each other and accept them and tell the other person that they feel this stuff for each other. And essentially, we are in this two-sided country between people who have magic and people who don't have magic. Very Red Queen-esque, very Powerless-esque. Same story, change the font, essentially, and change the characters, and change the fact that it's a romance. Although this is more slow burn compared to, like, Red Queen and the Powerless trilogy. There's a lot of controversy between the Powerless trilogy and the Red Queen series. I didn't like either of them, so I really can't say anything, but I can say that specifically for this part, for this story, it's fine. It's literally fine. I want to say overall, this series is like a 3.75, pushing 4-star, but I just can't get over the small things that make it not a 4-star for me. Like, it's literally fine. And that's all she wrote. Essentially, like I said, war-torn country between two peoples, people who have magic and people who don't. People who don't have magic are very highly discriminated against, and they are like ostracized. They are not allowed to reproduce with people who have magic under the presumptions that the people who have magic or their offspring of these people are not going to be as strong as the people who have magic or whatever. And so essentially DM ends up becoming part of this rebel group by accident, ends up leaving shortly after because she's like, I don't really fuck with you guys. And then she all of a sudden awakens her powers and then becomes like the old king dies. And then the, like, I guess goddess ends up choosing her to inherit the position of power. And so she becomes a queen. And then I don't want to say much else because there is more to that story as far as like she becomes like queens of multiple different situations, and I don't want to get more into detail than that. But by the third book, she's still not recognized as a queen. She's trying to convince the other crowns of the realm to like accept her, but they don't. And then like a whole bunch of sabotage and random stuff happens, and then this like new antagonist like rises up, and like he's very closely related to DM as like some whatever figure. I'm not going to get into it because it's like a spoiler, but it's fine. It's fine. I do plan to read Burn of the Everflame just because it will wrap up the whole series, but I don't think I would like reread it anytime soon. And if I do, it's like on a very casual night where I'm like, you know what, I haven't read in a while. A couple years later, that book. It's like a 2 to 5 year reread for me personally. People who really love it, I love that for you. It's just not really for me, and that's okay. Reading is subjective. And so last but not least, at the end of the month, I delved into the Legacy of God series. Yeah, I did. I really did. And yeah, I'm having a good time so far. It's not a feel-good book, definitely by any means. This is dark romance to its fucking core. Like, okay, so these are all interconnected standalones. Me personally, I'm of the opinion of the rest of the book talk community who have enjoyed this book and enjoyed this series, but I think you should read it in order. We have the God of Malice, the God of Pain, and the God of Wrath. These are the first 3 books in the Legacy of God series. I plan to wrap up this series in June. Stay tuned for my June TBR. But essentially, these are this is a college dark romance where everybody's in college. There's like 2 different universities who are rivals to each other: an American-run university, like as far as the students, and a British-run university as far as the students. They're all like very rich. They don't have to worry about money, from what I understand. Some of them are very deeply connected to the mafia, and the men in this series, yeah, they are very morally black. We in the first 3 books, God of Malice, God of Pain, and God of Wrath, we have Killian Carson, we have, oh my god, this is horrible, Clayton, King, and we have Remington. No, not Remington, definitely not Remington. Jeremy, who is a brother of Annika. So essentially the couples in here are Killian and Glendon, Annika and Creighton, and Jeremy and Cecily. Yeah, these are dark romances. These are very good in my opinion. Like I said, they're all very morally black. They are all very sadistic. They all have some very specific kinks. And they all have to do with like one character or both will have some very specific traumas, very specific not no-nos, but like I'm looking for a specific word, like very specific stops when it comes to the sexual department. And then they end up overcoming some specific situations and they end up becoming together and blah blah blah. I'm just having a good time. Yeah. God of Malice is a soccer romance, I would say. God of Pain is like a sadistic romance, I would say. It's like a lot of spanking involved. And then as far as God of Wrath, it's like a primal play. So the female character, Cecily, likes to be chased by somebody. And then that's what I will say. The only thing that I'm not really a particular fan of, like, it's okay, like when I'm reading it, but when I think about it, I'm like, kind of gives me the ick, is that so far, all of these girls are virgins. and then the men end up like hypersexualizing that part. So if you're not a huge fan of that, I would just like kick it to the back of your mind and maybe just continue reading the story, because it is pretty good. I will say I get some emotional feels when I'm reading this book, when I'm reading the series and reading the books in the series, but overall, like 4.5 stars, I want to say 4.25 for the most part. But yeah, these are the 30 books. Thank you for staying with me to the end of this video. These were the 30 books that I read in the month of April and May. I will say for the most part pretty good, like minus the couple of random books that were like 3 stars or solid 3.75 stars. Like this is a solid reading months. So if you made it to the end of this video, go ahead and like and comment and subscribe. If you made it to the end of this video, go ahead and do me a favor and like and comment the video. Comment down below if you have read any of these books, and if you haven't, what do you think I should read next? Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I upload a brand new video, usually every Saturday. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time, besties. Bye.